Keep quiet, please.
The silence after Micah's mother's words was deafening. Divorce. It sat in the air like a dark cloud, and Lila felt it pressing down on her chest, stealing the very breath from her lungs. Her body went rigid, but inside, she was unraveling. All she wanted in that moment was to scream, to demand why Micah couldn't be the one to speak for himself, but her voice wouldn't come. She sat frozen, staring at the floor, hands clutched in her lap so tightly her knuckles turned white. Noah pushed his toy truck across the carpet, making little engine sounds with his lips. He was blissfully unaware that the life he knew was fracturing forever. Micah shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His father leaned back, silent, while his mother's gaze remained fixed on Lila, sharp and unyielding. And then, just as the walls of her world were caving in, there was a knock at the door. Lila blinked. Slowly, like a dream, she rose to answer it. And there stood Pastor Samuel, his warm, steady eyes meeting hers, his presence like sunlight through storm clouds. Lila could almost feel the weight in her chest lighten, just a little. Pastor Samuel's voice echoed gently in her mind. "Lila, I was in the neighborhood and felt led to stop by. May I come in?" Her lip trembled. For a moment she couldn't even answer, just nodded and stepped aside. The pastor entered, immediately sensing the tension in the room. His eyes darted from Micah's family to Lila, who stood trembling near the doorway. Pastor Samuel's voice was soft but clear. I see this is not a casual visit." That was all it took. The dam inside me just broke. Tears burst forth, hot and unrelenting, my body shaking as sobs tore through my chest. I collapsed onto the couch, covering my face with both hands, no longer able to contain the grief I'd bottled for so long. Pastor Samuel moved quickly to my side, sitting beside me and placing a hand gently on my shoulder. "Let it out, child. Let it all out." Micah's mother shifted uncomfortably as though the sight of me crying inconvenienced her. Micah stared at the floor, his jaw tight, while his father cleared his throat but said nothing. For several minutes, the room was filled only with the sound of my weeping. I cried for the years I had invested, for the dreams I had nurtured, for the vows I had spoken with my whole heart. I cried for Noah, for the childhood he would now spend bouncing between two households. I cried for myself, for the woman I used to be before life had ground me down. At last the sobs softened into hiccups, my chest still rising and falling with ragged breaths. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, just exhausted but, strangely lighter. Pastor Samuel handed me a tissue. Sometimes tears are the only prayer we can manage. I nodded, my throat raw. For the first time, I found the strength to speak. "I won't fight you," I said, my voice shaking but steady enough. I looked at Micah's mother, then at Micah himself. "If this is what you want, I accept it. I just don't have it inside me to fight anymore." There was silence. Even Micah's mother seemed taken aback by the calmness of her words. "But," I continued, my eyes now blazing with quiet resolve, "I will be strong for Noah. I will raise him with love, no matter what." That night, after they left, after Pastor Samuel had prayed with me and gone home, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Noah slept beside me, his tiny hand resting on my arm. My mind spun. Has my life really come to this? I wondered. I remembered the young girl I used to be, the one with bright eyes and endless dreams. I had imagined a family filled with laughter, a husband who cherished me, children who grew up in the warmth of love and stability. But now those dreams were ashes. She saw herself clearly, walking through the wreckage of her own hopes, wondering how it had all gone so wrong. Micah had once been her safe place, her partner, her companion. She remembered their wedding day, how he had held her hand and whispered promises of forever. She remembered the first time he cradled Noah, the tenderness in his eyes. Where had that man gone? And yet, as the months had unfolded, she had seen the shadows in his family. The silence, the anger, the way his mother controlled every room she entered. And then, slowly, she learned what she hadn't known before, that beneath their strong exteriors, they all battled invisible storms. Depression, anxiety, episodes of rage, whispers of breakdowns that had shaped their family history. Mental illness ran through them like a current, surfacing at the worst times. Lila sat up in bed, brushing Noah's curls from his forehead. She realized then that she would not let herself be pulled into that same current. She had to be strong, for Noah, for herself. The days that followed were filled with paperwork, meetings, and court dates. The word divorce appeared on every document, black ink that seemed to scream from the page. Lila walked into the courthouse clutching her folder, her palms sweating. She felt like an outsider in her own life, like a character in someone else's story. The lawyer explained the process, the custody agreements, the financial obligations. Each word was another reminder that her marriage was not just ending, it was being dismantled, piece by the law itself. At night, she lay awake wondering how she would manage it all. Being a single mother wasn't just about love, it was about survival. Paying bills, keeping food on the table, making sure Noah never felt the absence of what she had lost. And yet, a strange peace began to settle inside her. For the first time in years, she wasn't walking on eggshells, waiting for Micah's moods to shift, or for his mother's criticisms to fall like stones. The house was quieter, yes, but it was also safer. Just when Lila thought she had begun to find her footing, life blindsided her again. It was a Thursday afternoon. She had picked Noah up from daycare and was cooking dinner when her phone buzzed. It was an unfamiliar number. "Hello?" she answered cautiously. "Mrs. Williams?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes, this is she. This is Attorney Harris. I represent your husband, Micah Williams. I'm calling to inform you of a new development in your divorce proceedings." Lila's heart skipped. She turned off the stove, her hand tightening around the phone. What development? There was a pause on the line, then the lawyer continued. "Mr. Williams and his family have filed for full custody of your son Noah." The words struck like a bolt of lightning. Her knees buckled. She sank onto a chair, the room spinning around her. Full custody. They weren't just ending the marriage, they were trying to take Noah away from her. For a moment she couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her son, her everything, and she realized with chilling clarity that the real battle had only just begun. To be continued.